The Inspired Disorder podcast is brought to you by onnit.com. That's ONNIT.com. There you can find all natural supplements to help your mind, body, and your mood. If you would like to save 10% on your order, please enter in the coupon code INSPIRED at checkout, and you will save 10% at onnit.com, ONNIT.com. Let's get it going.
Welcome to the Inspired Disorder podcast. Rebel podcasts inspired by life, love, stress, and setbacks. With your hosts Ray Taylor and Justin King. Disorder starts now.
What up, Justin?
What up? Yeah.
Yeah. So we are recording episode 36 of the Inspired Disorder podcast. And a lot of sports have been going on. Do you not agree,
crazy.
Justin? Yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah. So we got a lot of MMA to talk about. We also have NFL to talk about. Let us just start with the NFL, the National Football League, and what you got to say about that shit, Justin?
Well, divisional round this weekend. Next weekend's the championship for both conferences, and there's been upsets actually pretty much consistently throughout the playoffs now, which is cool. I mean, it's making the playoffs crazier than they usually are. Yesterday we were treated to an epic 49ers win, which if you're a football fan at all, you know, it's just that was actually one of the craziest football games start to finish I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And just the end of it was so intense and just epic. Just one of the best overall football games I think I've ever seen was this recent 49ers versus God, who the hell are they playing again? They're playing
The Saints.
Saints, that's right. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
But just an epic all-around game, and I'm sure you agree, Ray.
It was awesome.
Just,
I'm actually I'm a huge Charger fan, as are you, both living in San Diego. But my second team, if I had to choose a number 2 team, it would be the Saints. And I actually just got a Sproles jersey, and for a Saints Sproles jersey. And
nice.
Sproles was awesome at San Diego, but we never seemed to use him to the best of his abilities. And it seems like he came into his own playing at the Saints. And it was awesome to see a player that you follow and that you like a lot actually have the ability to show his skills. So I got a Saints jersey of his, and I was wearing it yesterday. And of course, the game started out horrible, absolutely horrible for the Saints. It was basically the first 2 plays. Like, one was a pass. The wide receiver ended up getting knocked out, getting concussion, had to leave the game. And then, there was another running play right after that where the guy literally got knocked out, lost the ball, and, passed out and under a pile, a dog pile of guys. And it was another turnover for the Saints. It was 2 concussions on the Saints, and next thing you know, it's 17-0.
Oh, there's 6 turnovers just in the first quarter.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's you're talking a whole game, both teams totals 6 turnovers maybe,
Yeah. Luckily the Saints caught back up,
They
close.
did. They did. The Saints D needs to be, praised for what they did because they were able to still keep them in the game after that many turnovers, which is a crazy feat, so.
Mm-hmm.
All around. That's one of those games where it's it sucks to see one team lose because both teams played with their absolute best,
Yeah.
Just the Saints just were plagued by the turnover situation, and that ended up getting them at the end. But actually, they got back into it though. It was kind of
it was a close fucking game, man. It
came down to the crazy heroics at the very end, the crazy last second drives by both teams.
Yeah. It was awesome, and I'm just glad that the Saints came back and made it a game.
Oh,
I mean,
definitely.
I don't. There's a lot of 49ers fans. I'm not a hater of the 49ers by any means, as much anywhere as the Steelers or the Patriots. I hate both those teams, or the Broncos, I should say. Any three of those teams I actively dislike, some more than others. But 49ers, I'm not a big one way or the other. Doesn't really matter to me. Not like a rivalry
Yeah,
that I can see.
49ers, I'm the same way. I mean, it's cool to see him doing really good. And
Yeah.
Alex Smith is also a San Diegan, so it's cool to see like a local kid,
Hmm.
doing his thing and making a name for himself. So that's all good.
For sure. So now that the first or second round, I guess, of the playoffs are done, who do you think is going to the Super Bowl, or who do you want to go to the Super Bowl? Of
Damn.
all.
Well, the way it's looking right now with the Giants, they're probably, I don't know. It's hard to say at this point, but I
Hmm.
think the Giants are going to get it, man, just because the Giants have done it before. They've been in this exact situation before, coming in as the wild card and just running through the playoffs and just kicking everybody's ass. So, as far as what think's going to win it, I think it might be the Giants actually, but the Patriots also. I mean, the Patriots have a really good offense. Of course, they got crazy weapons. I mean, they got two of the craziest tight ends to ever play right now.
Hmm.
They have, of course, Tom Brady, one of the best quarterbacks of all time as well, and their offense is just firing right now. But the Patriots D is kind of like, I mean, they're okay. They stepped their game up crazy yesterday.
Yeah.
Um, God, who did they play again? They played the Broncos.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just
They
annihilated the
crushed them.
Broncos.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's no hope for Tebow. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. He
Jesus loves the Patriots.
he of course, obviously he just didn't pray hard enough, but
Yeah.
that's another story. We'll get on with that later.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Yeah.
but
So you think it's going to be Patriots and
I think it might be, yeah. I think it honestly might be a rematch
yeah.
of the Patriots and Giants of the Super Bowl, and I think
Hmm.
the Giants might do it again to the Patriots.
Which we
So
saw that game live at the
yeah,
sports
at
bar
Jordan
together,
Joe's
which was stressful as hell, man. That was like a crazy fucking Super Bowl.
for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
the Patriots have some weapons now that they didn't have that last time, so it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if the Patriots D can stop the Giants' offense right now because they have some badass receivers. I mean, Victor Cruz, like rookie player, basically. Victor Cruz is just like destroying people.
Hmm.
They got Mario Manningham, they got Hakeem Nicks still. I mean, they have some crazy receivers. So,
Yeah.
and Manning, of course, I mean, we saw today. Manning is playing a lot better than he was past couple of years. So,
Yeah.
I honestly think the Giants are gonna do
So
the
you
whole
think
thing.
so you think Giants are going to go over the Niners? How do you
Yeah,
think that game's going to go? You think it's going to be an easy win for them, or you think will they
no,
battle?
definitely not. I think this game coming up this next Sunday, the Giants and Niners will be insane.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, the Niners might have an edge because that crowd was really into it yesterday,
Hmm.
and causing a lot of mess ups with the opposing team's QB and the whole deal. It's like
Yeah.
the noise level was insane. So that might be an edge for him, but I don't know. The Giants are firing right now, so
Is that going to be harder for the Giants or harder for the Patriots? You think the Patriots over the Ravens? Do you think that's going to be an easy win for the Patriots?
well, the Ravens have a crazy D,
Yeah.
and that's hard to say. I
Have they
mean,
played already this year against each other?
I'm pretty sure they have. I'm not 100% sure on that, but
Yeah. It'd
it's
be
kind of I think
interesting.
it's kind of rare for them to
So
play each other during the regular season. But
yeah. But you think Patriots Giants Super
I
Bowl?
think Patriots Giants. Yep, that's what I'm calling right now.
Yeah.
Anyways, is Patriots Giants, and I think in that situation, if it does happen, the Giants take them. So
I don't know. This has been a fucking crazy year, man. Like, there's been so many upsets, I guess. I
it's
mean,
true. I mean, you never know. And like
yeah.
you said, yeah, there's been a lot of upsets already. So
I think
I mean,
I think I would be more excited to see a Ravens 49ers
that'd be cool for
Super
sure.
Bowl.
Too
I
hard.
think that would just
Yeah.
be awesome.
Well, the Harbaughs. That'd be Jim Harbaugh and John Harbaugh.
Oh, really?
Yo, yeah.
Oh, wow.
You
Well,
know
there
that?
you go. That would be awesome even more. I was excited before I even knew that piece of
That would be the first
information.
time too that would be an awesome Super Bowl because, like I said, that's two brothers who are the head coaches.
Okay.
They've only faced each other once, I think, during the regular season. So
That's cool. I just think it'd be more interesting because it's like the Patriots have been to the Super Bowl like a billion times, and not that the Giants have, but I remember I haven't been following football for that long, but we watched that Super Bowl, so
Yeah, I mean, it's
Giants
be a
beating
repeat
them
of that
recently.
exact same Super Bowl. I mean,
Yeah.
it's almost the exact same situation too for both teams.
Yeah, I don't necessarily want to see that. So if the NFL is actually rigging these games and listening to this podcast, make a better game and put the Niners against the Ravens. I swear I don't have any money on either of
Or
those
I mean,
teams.
shit, the 49ers Patriots would be crazy also.
Yeah.
You know,
Any mix not being the exact same, Patriots versus Giants would be cool.
yeah.
I just want to see the same shit again. Even though it was a crazy game, but it's like, I don't know. This time I don't want to see it. Yeah, cool.
We'll see if we'll see if Norv and AJ can
Yeah,
get
that's
us there
actually
next season.
it's actually where I was going next. It's like we're both Charger fans, and there was this video. I'm gonna play it. We're obviously just gonna listen to the audio, but I don't know if you've seen this yet.
Is it the status quo video?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking
So
awesome.
I was gonna play that because you can get away just playing audio, so you don't need to actually see it. But if you want to, you could look it up on YouTube, probably Chargers status quo, and it'll come up. So anyway, this entertained me earlier today.
And me as well.
Yeah.
Lamplighter Montessori School is a proud sponsor of News
It's a
Channel
proud
3's
sponsor.
WeatherNet.
Wow, there's a commercial, so I forgot that was there. So yeah, this is a video, parody video, kind of trailer-esque of Chargers. Okay, here we go.
In a year, the world is supposed to end.
Adhere to the Mayan calendar, which predicts the end of time to occur on the 21st of December of 2012.
In a league fraught with peril.
Unbelievable! Are you kidding me? Look at this!
One man will try to rise above it all by doing nothing.
I've decided to stay the course with our general manager, A.J. Smith, and our head coach, Norv Turner.
Forced with the choice that could change the fortunes of an entire city, Dean Spanos is status quo.
You still have to stay the course and do what you think is right.
From the producers of back-to-back mediocre seasons comes a reality story that gets challenged by the critics.
And if he wants to settle for being average or being cheap and not paying off those contracts, that's his choice.
The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
By fans, and even that talking dog from YouTube.
Oh, no. You kicked me.
Directed by A.J. Smith.
We need to go to the playoffs all the time.
Starring Philip Rivers.
When you believe in something, that doesn't mean you're always right. But if you believe in it, you gotta express it.
Norv Turner.
And I've been excited about this team for a long time.
And introducing
I just don't
John
like to show
Pagano
it ever.
as Mr. Fix-It. One team.
Perfect, man.
Yeah.
One plan. One desire.
We have to go out and win next year. It doesn't matter if you have a new coach or a general manager or you stay the course. If you don't win next year, it doesn't matter.
Oh shit. Yeah, that's so disappointing.
I
Because
know,
they were saying, like when after our third loss in a row this season, that if we don't make the playoffs, that AJ and Norv were gone, or at least somebody said that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we didn't make the playoffs. After that statement was made, we won a bunch of games, and it got really close. Like, the Chargers love to tease us. They love to, we might actually get there. No. And, yeah. And it ended up being no playoffs and status quo, as usual. Let's change
For sure.
everything by doing nothing.
Yeah, it's a lot of people say that because we have the weather we have here in San Diego, that this is kind of like one of our ways that, karma kind of bites us back in the ass is always having to deal with shitty sports teams.
Yeah.
So maybe there is something to that because, I've been following the Padres for almost all my life now, and the Chargers since we went to the Super Bowl back in '94. And yeah, it's been rough, man. I definitely have lost years of my life, I think, due to the stress and anxiety that the Padres and Chargers have both given me.
Yeah.
And it happens all the year after year. It's like you said, it's like they get us so close sometimes too. It's like the whole team can, we lose because we fumble a snap to the Chiefs, who were like 2-8 at the time, and then we come back and we kick the Baltimore Ravens' ass 6 weeks later. It's like, how does that happen?
Yeah. Well, and then they show our fucking coach on the sidelines, Norv Turner, and he's like at a tea party. He doesn't seem like he's not like reacting to the drama that's going on. And then there was that one game where it was like a minute and a half till we tied up, minute and a half to overtime, and we didn't even try to go. We just like ran the clock down and nothing. It's like, what the fuck are you doing, man? It's like, we're just tied up. You could actually try it. I think it was against the Broncos, and we could actually try and win it.
Game.
Yeah. And no, just a minute and a half. Let's just waste it. We'll go in overtime, and whatever.
No, Philip Rivers actually recently, since they already announced that Norv and AJ were staying, Rivers was like, well, about those losses, you could put those on me, which I kind of find. I mean, yeah, Rivers didn't look like Rivers this year, but
he sucks.
At the same time, it's like there's like you can see there's confusion between him and Norv, and like just the stuff behind the scenes. You can just see it through the camera.
Play calling.
Yeah,
play sucked for years. Fucking when we had Sproles, who is lighting it up at Louisiana, at least this year. He didn't make. I mean, they lost, but he's been doing amazing this year. Just because they know how to use him. Fucking Chargers.
Sproles had the most combined yards for any NFL player in NFL history. So,
yeah, and we always wasted a down running him up the middle. And it's like, why are you running the smallest guy up the middle when it never fucking works? You try it every goddamn game, and it never fucking works. Yeah, it's Norv Turner. Fuck him. We did way better with fucking Marty Schottenheimer, and we got rid of him after one season.
Yeah, the thing with Marty, I mean, if there wasn't the AJ Smith factor, that was the reason why Marty had to go, because Marty basically wanted to bring in all of his own staff to take over a lot of key positions within the Chargers management and, of course, coaching and the whole deal. And AJ Smith wasn't down with that. So, AJ Smith talked to Spanos and they got Marty out of there. But that was mostly because, it just sucks. It's like all behind the scenes bullshit that stopped him from being our coach. Yeah. Which, I mean, Norv basically worked off of Marty's team for the first couple of years he was there. Yeah. Before, major changes were made anyways. But yeah, it's just who knows? It's there's the shoulda, woulda, couldas for everything. Yeah, and,
no shit.
I mean, this, like I said earlier, man, the Chargers, as far as contributing to years of my life that have been burned away, and just wasted because of the condition my heart is in. Yeah, they break my heart, Ray.
Oh my god, man!
God damn it,
fuckers. So let's just fucking move away from the Chargers and how it depresses us and breaks our hearts and causes us anxiety and depression and all other things that we could take many drugs to cure.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some MMA. We went and saw UFC 141. They just had 142 or UFC Rio 2, but 141, it was Brock Lesnar versus Alistair Overeem. There were a lot of prelim fights, or undercard fights, I should say. Let's see, what was one that stood out to you, Justin?
The Nate Diaz fight, for sure.
Nate Diaz, Donald Cerrone fight.
Yeah, that fight, as far as, I forget the one that was before that one. I'm trying to think. It was
John
like a preliminary
Fitch
fight,
versus Johnny Hendricks. It was really quick knockout in that fight.
Yeah,
Johnny Hendricks.
Quick knockout.
Yeah.
The Nate Diaz fight and Cerrone, Cowboy Cerrone. Yeah. That was definitely my pick for fight of the night.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just a brawl start to finish, and didn't it come down to a decision?
It did, and that actually did get fight of the night bonus. They got $75,000 bonus for that fight, each of the fighters. Awesome. Yeah, but it went down to decision. But Nate Diaz basically picked Donald Cerrone apart, landed. I think he landed.
Oh, that's right. He was super quick with his little jabs. And just, like every 2 seconds, he was like he had like 5 or 6 hits in.
That's the thing with the Diaz brothers, Nick and Nate Diaz. They throw punches that look weak as fuck, but they throw like 10 times more than the other guy, and they land about 10 times more than the other guy. So, that shit adds up. Even though it's not haymakers every time, that shit adds up. And Nate Diaz, I guess they have a like strike counter type. There's a website or a company that counts the number, like percentages of strikes landed versus thrown, and that was the highest in UFC history. It was like 86 or 87%. So definitely Donald Cerrone. I mean, the only thing Donald did I think it was the third round, he started leg kicking and like doing a lot of sweeps to Nate Diaz, which made him fall on his ass, but he got right back up, which is funny. That we were at a sports bar watching the fights, and one thing, I'm not used to watching fights in public. I'm used to just watching them at home by myself or watching with friends or whatever, or at a smaller bar. But it's really funny. After that fight, I went to go take a leak, and in the bathroom, like, everybody went in there saying Donald Cerrone won that shit. He fucking Cowboy fucking knocked him on his ass so many goddamn times. What Nate do? Nate didn't do shit. He got knocked on his ass so many goddamn times. And that's like what you hear when you go to sports bars where people don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Because, like, yeah, he sweeped his legs, and then Nate fell on his ass, but then nothing happened. Cowboy Cerrone didn't like go in and try to finish the fight. He didn't try to go pound him out on the ground. He didn't do anything to capitalize on just tripping the guy. I mean, it's Ultimate Fighting Championship. It's not Ultimate Tripping Championship. So, and then I was just watching the most recent fights, and it was a similar thing. It's like you go in and, you go and take a leak, and there's a bunch of guys in the restroom taking a leak, and you hear them, try to act like they know what the fuck they're talking about. And they're like so uneducated about shit. It's ridiculous. It's annoying. And I'm sure that's what I sound like if I ever talk about football, because I like football, but I don't follow it as much as I do in MMA. So I'm sure, but I don't feel the need to like boast about shit I don't know. But it's just fucking annoying, man.
Well, I hear you. There's groups of people like that in every sport, though. Like you said, like there's NFL, there's all kinds of shit. So that transfers over to every sport.
Oh yeah.
But with UFC especially, it's like people just think, "Oh, dude, do you see what happened there, bro?" It's like,
yeah. I mean, it is a complex sport. There's a lot of shit going on. So, but at the same time, it's like, god damn. It's like, I don't know. I think people have their fans. Like, I went to go see the last UFC. The UFC Rio 2, and it wasn't like a big name card. There was no like Tito Ortiz's or John Jones or Forrest Griffin or BJ Penn or any. There's no big name fighters really, except for there was a belt title fight in the featherweight, but that's a new division for the UFC, so most people don't know any of those guys. I mean, I don't know a lot of those guys that are new to the UFC, but like, it was empty. Like, when we went there, it was pretty fucking packed. And when I went there last, the other night, I got a table, no problem. There was plenty of seating. It wasn't nearly as busy as the other times I've been to the bar to watch the fights. So it's interesting to go to fights when there's not big names, because a lot of the times those cards are like more entertaining than the big name cards.
Oh yeah.
Because like those guys, they have a lot more to fight for. They're trying to get fans, they're trying to get notoriety in the sport, so they're gonna lay a lot more on the line than somebody that has like a undefeated streak that they're trying to win. They're both strikers, and then they end up canceling each other out, and it ends up being like a boring fight where everybody's just dancing around the ring, not really trying to do much.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times the cards that you don't even fucking like, I don't know any of these people, tend to be like fucking insane cards. And this one was full of knockouts and submissions. I don't think any of the main card went to a decision. It was all finished. And fucking some crazy knockouts too. The one I tried to send you and I haven't been able to find on YouTube, it was what was his name? It was a spinning wheel kick by Edson Barboza against Terry Edom. It was the first fight on the main card. And it was the spinning wheel kick and right to the face. And it was so clean, so well timed. It was in 2 minutes into the third round. So it was towards the end of the fight. And Edson Barboza was kind of eking out a win from what I could tell. It was, the beginning of the night. I wasn't paying that much attention, but it seemed like he was controlling the fight most of the way. And then, fucking nailed Terry Edom with fucking crazy spinning wheel kick.
That's awesome.
Terry Edom basically stiffened up and just fell right down like a board. Crazy knockout. Like you're going to see that so many times in like highlight videos and replay videos and shit. It's going to be, it was crazy. And then the main card was Chad Mendes, Jose Aldo. Jose Aldo, that's the featherweight division, 135 pounds. Okay. And Jose Aldo's the belt holder. And at the very end, it was a second before the round ended, he finished the fight. Like the other guy was trying to Chad Mendes is really good at takedowns. He's a really good wrestler. So it's kind of split. Chad Mendes really good at takedowns, really good wrestler. Jose Aldo is one of the hardest guys to get down in that weight class. So it was like, who's going to win out on that battle? And Jose Aldo was not getting taken down. Towards the end of the round, he was pinned up against the fence. And then he was able to, I think Chad had Jose's back for a while. And then right as they broke free, Jose Aldo looked at Chad, and Chad wasn't aware yet. He was, as they broke free, he wasn't paying attention to what was going on. Jose Aldo saw him, threw a knee, knocked him down, and then threw one hammer fist, and Chad was out. It was crazy. Right as the round was ending, he knocked him out.
Oh shit.
But it was good fights, man. Vitor Belfort, Anthony Johnson, Anthony Rumble Johnson, he couldn't make weight. I guess there was a big issue with that, which at the fight, he was at 211 pounds. They were supposed to be fighting at 170 middleweight or welterweight, and I believe, but he was way off. He was 11 pounds over. So they ended up having to do some weird thing where they both had to stay at 205 until the fight. And so when they finally, Vitor Belfort weighed in at 206. So he didn't cut as much, 10 pounds less he was trying to cut. And Anthony Johnson weighed at 211. So, but Anthony Johnson ended up losing. It wasn't a very, it was kind of a good fight. But Vitor Belfort, I think his experience in the ring showed, and he was able to finish it by rear naked choke. But Anthony Johnson, he's had so many problems on weigh-ins. He's not made weight a bunch of times, but able to, in the initial weigh-ins, he wasn't able to make weight, and then he was able to cut down to finally make weight. And this is one where he was way off, and it's just, you could tell that Joe Rogan and the other commentator, Mike Goldberg, they were very expressing the UFC's unhappiness over what had happened. The fact that it's very unprofessional, they didn't make weight and things like that. But it's still, it was going to be a really good fight, but it, like a lot of the other fights, it ended up finishing in the first round. It was a good night of fights, for sure.
Definitely sounds more entertaining than the Brock Lesnar Overeem. I mean, like I said, what was I talking about? Nate Diaz and Cerrone was awesome, but
oh yeah,
I mean, I remember actually John Fitch. Actually, that one ended really quick though. John Fitch versus Hendricks.
Yep. It was he caught him. It was
right away. It was 10 seconds or something.
Yeah, it was a quick knockout, but sometimes that happens, man. You don't. You get caught with a punch. There was one fight, I forget who 2 fighters were. I could look it up, but I don't feel like it. There was two fighters, heavyweight. One guy was built like an action figure, totally ripped, fake looking. The other guy was like huge gut, like looked like he was a mechanic that walked into the ring. And they fought 3 rounds. The whole time, the action figure dude was like punching the other guy in the head, like just teeing off on the guy the whole fight. And the whole time, the other guy, he's getting hit the whole time, but he wasn't getting rocked. He wasn't, he kept taking all the punishment. Very end of the 3rd round, the fat dude throws one straight right. The guy, the action figure dude, gets hit, falls back, slow motion like an action movie, like totally ridiculous, gets fucking knocked out and loses the fight. There's no sport like MMA where, like, in a split second, you could be winning the entire goddamn fight. You could be up 1,000 points to 0, and with one punch, you could lose. No other sport's like that. It's fucking awesome. That was like, so it's those types of moments where it's like, seems like such a one-sided victory score-wise, and then when like it totally gets changed around, that you just jump up and you can't help it and you're screaming like a motherfucker. It's awesome. That's why I love the sport.
It's the only sport, like you said, that can, look like it's been dominated by one side for the whole time, and all of a sudden, boom, nope, you're wrong.
Yeah, sorry. Good night. Yeah, but that was also the night Alistair Overeem, which I'd seen him in K1 a few times, K1 Grand Prix. I don't think I saw him on Strikeforce, but I guess he's like a big comeback story. Most people haven't heard of him. He fought Brock Lesnar, which used to be a professional wrestler for WWE or whatever. And Brock, he's only fought premier top flight heavyweights, and he's done fairly well considering he's like fresh to the sport. And Alistair Overeem had a really good career and then ended up getting knocked out a few times, and then built this great comeback where he got, I think he just got refocused in Muay Thai, and then K1 is a kickboxing organization, and he came back in their Grand Prix, which is kind of like tournament style, and was just killing people. And he's huge. He looks like one of those action figure type guys. And he came in against Brock Lesnar, who has a wrestling background, and Alistair Overeem obviously has crazy Muay Thai, and landed a few leg kicks to the liver and a couple knees to the liver, and Brock Lesnar just could not take that shit. Which, my experience watching Brock, he can't take much punishment. Whether he has excuses, I mean, he did have surgery on his colon, but at the same time, he's never really shown that he could take much punishment. And Alistair Overeem punished him and ended it pretty quick. And then Brock retired. Which,
that was kind of unexpected for me to see him retire like that. But I
he
guess
wasn't in very
I don't
long.
know. Guess he's over it.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, Randy Couture has retired and come back. Michael Jordan retired and came back. Magic Johnson retired and came back. Andre Agassi retired and came back. It's like there's a lot of people that retire from a professional sport and then come back. So, especially in MMA, it's, if he, gets pretty bored in Montana on his farm or ranch or whatever, I could see him coming back. Maybe he's just taking a break so he can train, maybe learn some stand-up. But it was 2 losses in a row. He lost the belt to, or actually, I don't think he had the belt at the time. Maybe he did. Yeah, he did, because he lost to Cain Velasquez. Cain won
That's
it.
right.
And then his next fight was Alistair Overeem, and he was out for a while. It was over a year. It was October of 2010, and he came back. It was just December 30th. He came back. So he was out for over a year with that surgery and recovery and everything. But he was good, man. He won against some, Shane Carwin he beat Frank Mir, Randy Couture, Heath Herring. That fight was crazy. He's had top flight competition in the UFC, especially, in a pretty stacked heavyweight division. But Who knows? It'd be cool to see him come back. There's so many fighters in that division. I think the next fight, Alistair Overeem versus Junior Dos Santos, because they're both primarily stand-up fighters. I think that's gonna be a crazy fight. That might be either really entertaining or one of those fights where they cancel each other out, which kind of sucks. But I don't think so. I don't think either of those guys do that type of thing. Cancel, kind of just hold back and feel each other out. But yeah, so a lot of UFC stuff, and it's anytime you go to a sports bar and you're more educated than the average person on whatever sport they're showing, I guess it is kind of annoying to listen to people. I'm sure it's like NFL people that are really educated and they're in like a bunch of fantasy leagues, and then talking to some guy that just started a fantasy league, because I would assume being in a fantasy league would be like those people just in a league are more educated than the average guy, I would assume.
Well, yeah, you hear the conversations all the time at, just like your experience at bars, places like that. Like, oh, I started Bray today, bro. I should have started Drew Brees, or, stuff like that. It's like, it's kind of funny. People take it really seriously. But at the same time, it's like a lot of people it's just the level of knowledge always fluctuates and varies.
Yeah.
As far as the UFC goes, though, a lot of people don't understand the scoring system behind the UFC, whereas as far as a sport like the NFL or hockey or baseball or whatever, it's like most people are generally aware of how to score or win the game,
Yeah, maybe they'd be like a little off on minor rules here and there. It's like,
like penalties on something, whatever. But as far as the UFC goes, a lot of people don't know. Like they're casual fans. They'll go to see like the Lesnar Overeem fight.
Yeah.
Like the big names that they all know, but they have no idea how the matches are actually scored. Like for example, like the Nate Diaz fight, when you were in the bathroom and the guy's talking about that. It's like, I doubt that dude even understood like the actual scoring system behind the UFC and what it entails.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if anybody is listening to this and would like to instantly be educated, watch UFCs and listen to the commentary, because Joe Rogan is amazing at commenting on he will watch when they're on the ground, especially because he trains jiu-jitsu, and a lot of groundwork is jiu-jitsu and wrestling. He'll comment on each move and each thing that's going on, so when you're at a bar, it's hard to hear the commentary just because people are so fucking loud, and a lot of things are going on. You're not really listening to the audio necessarily of like the commentators of the sport, but definitely listening to the commentary will key you in, or at least you'll slowly get educated on what you're watching. But yeah, I think that's a lot of these guys are going to the bars, and that's how they've always seen it, or they enjoy watching it, but they don't really know the fundamentals of it, or it's like just visually entertaining. They don't really care to find out what's going on. Which, that's very true with other sports, like football. There's a lot of people that enjoy football, but they don't really know, when clock management comes into play. They don't really know when certain penalties come into play, things like that. But
very true.
It's going to be, it's now that UFC is on Fox and FX and all those channels, along with pay-per-view. I mean, they're constantly growing. So, and, people are constantly learning more and more, people constantly training in that sport. So it's definitely, growing. It's just the beginning stages of a new and far superior sport, in my opinion, than any other competitive sport. Nothing's as consistently entertaining. Football is close. Football is probably the closest. Soccer, golf, and baseball are the least entertaining.
According to Ray Taylor.
According to me. Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Yeah. Football's always been my personal favorite. Second would be probably a tie between baseball, UFC. But football's always been that top of the line for me for since I was a little kid. Just something about it. I actually tried to go and play football back in high school too, which was a horrible experience, but but I tried.
If you want to tell us about it, Justin.
Well,
Feel free.
shit, man.
I mean, that's what the podcast is, man. It's how people can get to know us.
Looking at it now, I can't say it was horrible, even though I just did say it was horrible. I got to retract that statement. And
I
it
do
wasn't
that a lot
horrible.
too.
I basically made it all the way to Hell Week, and I was going for the junior varsity team.
Mm-hmm.
But I just found out later on after the whole Hell Week thing, and we had to we lined up by the roster of names. I wasn't on there, so but it was crazy going through the whole experience of that though. Like the whole Hell Week training thing was just out of control every day. Twice a day, 2-a-days basically for a whole week there, and we used to have to do laps around Harry Griffin Park here in La Mesa, and it's about 2 miles is a lap, and we'd do like 4 or 5 laps a day, if not more. Just intense cardio, man. And,
what position were you going for?
Tight end is what I was going for. It's just back in the day I used to play catch with my dad stuff, and I thought it was decent enough with my hands to where I could pull it off. I just wasn't really like tall enough for one, and wasn't really like just the hands, like the quickness of the hands to be able to catch the ball like after it's thrown, like turn and then catch it. Basically to where like it's thrown, so it's thrown before you even see the ball. That kind of stuff, like that really quick timing I couldn't really get. That was my main problem. So,
well,
who knows?
Similar thing, but basketball for me. I was a huge basketball fan. Played basketball. I started playing basketball, playground basketball, like 5th grade, and up through I was like 22, 23. Primarily playing outdoor basketball. I actually hate playing indoors. I hate hardwood floors. I hate rims with springs on them. But there was once in high school, because I played all through high school during lunch. I used to bring my basketball to school, and we'd, me and a bunch of friends, we'd play during lunch, and or before school, or whatever. Played a lot of basketball, but outside, and played a lot of the the school players would come out and play, and they were all fucking cocky as hell. But most of them didn't last very long, and I tried out 1 year. For high school basketball. I think it was probably my junior year or something like that. And because I wasn't tall enough, they didn't take me or whatever. So they can just go suck a fucking dick at La Quinta High School. La Quinta, California Basketball Association can suck my cock and lick my balls.
There you go.
Because I'm still not tall enough, but I had a fucking mean 3-ball and could control the ball like nobody's business. So they missed out on a good basketball player. And Coach Ray, which sucks that his name was Ray because my name is Ray, but it was his last name. But Coach Ray can go get herpes or AIDS or whatever he wants to get. I don't think anybody from there is listening, so I don't really care if it gets back to him. That's why I'm saying this. Thank you. Yeah, so, but basketball, I love playing, and like that whole, just going through the whole process of trying out and seeing how they play basketball versus, or how, they try to structure it and try to, whatever. It, that wasn't how I played. I was used to playground basketball. I didn't know any of the drills. I didn't know any of the things, but, I had good fucking range, and I had good ball control and good passing, so, but I love playing. It's just, I would still play today if my knees weren't so fucking bad, and, I was about 30 pounds lighter. I'd play a lot more.
I hear you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, I don't know. I got the feeling like I could make a difference out there because, playing at, recess and stuff like that back in the day in middle school and high school, like at PE and stuff like that in high school even. I would be fucking destroying people out there. I'd be like totally blowing past them and like making a badass catch, like one-handed situation here, like boom, look at that, like Vincent Jackson out there, man.
Yeah.
And then like I tried playing with like the
except for white and short.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. White, short, and pasty.
But almost exactly like Vincent Jackson.
And less DUIs compared to Vincent
true.
Jackson.
That's
true. But yeah, man, I thought I could make a difference out there. Playing like basic PE ball with all the homeboys of the class. I would usually do pretty well. It was just like the drills, the timing. Was just so fast at that upper level that I just couldn't hang. And maybe wide receiver. I mean, I was thinking about that too later on. Like, what if I tried to go for a wide receiver spot? But just wasn't tall enough for something like that, man. I mean, I'm like 5'10", 5'11". And when the average of like most guys would be guarding you is like 6'1", 6'2", at the shortest, you're kind of fucked. So
well, fucking try shit out and whatever,
Exactly. After that, I got on some BMX bikes. I used to ride BMX bikes back in the day too until I got severely injured. Going off this little kicker jump, like I flew off, and like the bike, I was supposed to like tap the brakes and even it out in the air. And I just launched off and was like sticking straight up, and I was so high up in the air. It was like the highest I've ever been off a jump. I just let go of the bike and it came down and slammed into my tailbone.
Nice.
Broke a couple bones back there.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Well, you didn't really need that tail anyway.
That's true. That's true. It just I wish I had more junk in my trunk at that particular point in time in my life.
Well, yeah, I guess that's
God damn, that shit, man. It's like,
hindsight is 2020.
For sure, man. That was basically when I stopped riding bikes, was after that crash. I was like, I'll try something else now.
Yeah. Well, fuck it. You get old, you can't play the sports forever, and not that many people, go far in them. So
especially with the extreme sports, like you have a very limited window as far as when you can really make it for yourself in those sports, because your body can't take that kind of abuse. Those guys are like hitting kickers, like for snowboarding, for example, they'll launch them 200 feet. If you crash or something like that, or like hit an edge landing, you could do 6 or 7 barrel rolls, break whatever leg, break this, break that. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
The risk you're putting yourself in with any sport. Look at the freestyle motocross riders. Look at all those guys. It's like,
well, you could die doing that shit too.
Yeah, you could die doing all that shit. So
yeah. That's one crazy thing about MMA is they hit their prime in their mid 30s. Usually, a lot of the fighters anyway. I'm sure now with a lot of people coming up training in MMA, they'll probably hit their prime a lot sooner. But a lot of fighters mid 30s, late 30s, that's their prime.
It's true.
I mean, you look at somebody like Randy Couture, he was fighting elite fighters and he was 45 years old. And I think there's one former NFL player who's fighting, and he's going to have a fight or something like that, and he's 51. He's not in the UFC, he's in some other organization, but so you have a lot longer life, or right now anyway, in mixed martial art or UFC, because they, that's what the refs are there for, man. Stopping the fights before anybody gets seriously hurt.
True dat.
Yeah. Which was crazy about the fucking Saints game. The first 2 plays almost were knockouts. Oh yeah,
are you talking about Jimmy Graham, who got I think he got hit right there by the goal line and was basically knocked out?
Mm-hmm. Well, it was a helmet. Are you talking about the helmet to helmet one?
Yeah, wasn't far from the goal line. He caught a pass and just got slammed. Yeah,
helmet to helmet. Nothing happened. No flags. No nothing. And you can tell he just stiffened up. The ball came out. He fell. Pile of guys came on, and fumble, turnover, but nothing happened. He got knocked out and took a nap underneath 12 guys, which sounds like a horrible, horrible gay movie.
Sounds like a horrible time.
Horrible gay porn. Sleepless in Seattle. A guy gets knocked out and falls asleep underneath 12 guys.
Fucking A. Yeah. No thanks.
Fuck a B, it's got more holes.
No, actually, I could totally tell he got knocked out because of my experience watching UFC and how you react when that happens.
Well, he stiffened up. You can see in the countless replays. First, you see the helmets hitting, and then you see just his arms just solid granite, and the ball just flies out because he's knocked the fuck out.
Yeah.
And then maybe he wakes up while he's underneath the pile of guys, but yeah, it was a disappointing start to that game, but at least they made it a game. I'm glad they made it a game.
They did, and with all those turnovers, I mean, that's a true testament to the Saints D for keeping them in that shit to begin with.
For sure.
The Ravens and Texans game today was kind of boring in my opinion. I didn't really. I mean, it started off cool, but it kind of got just to a defensive game towards the end, and nothing really happening. Just kind of 3 and outs for both teams, kind of back and forth.
Wasn't it close towards the end though? At some point, and then
yeah,
the Ravens got it, and it was just like over.
There's multiple chances for the Texans to come back, but the quarterback kept throwing interceptions. That was one thing.
Yeah.
With the Ravens, though, crazy catches were made today by the Ravens receivers. I think it was Bolden who made like a crazy one-handed catch.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Just badass. So, I mean, there were some highlights for sure. And Arian Foster, too, is just a beast. That guy is like, for fantasy owners out there, you know what I'm talking about. He's been like one of the only consistent running backs this whole season as far as production, game in, game out, So, and Foster's one of those guys who's going to be around for a long time for sure. He's just, the guy's crazy.
Yeah.
He's sort of like if LT wasn't like, he's sort of like LT if LT was like just basically had more muscle mass to him, and he still has quick fucking cutty moves like LT and a crazy speed burst kind of like LT back in the day, but he just has more muscle mass to him, so he can kind of like knock guys around a little more than LT used to be able to do. So
which the contrast for the like lifespan of an athlete. Like running backs, fucking like, wasn't it like once they hit 30, that's when they hit their decline?
Oh yeah, for like every running back, just because it's such a physical
brutal.
toll on their ankles, their feet, their knees. They don't last as long as say like quarterbacks or some receivers can go pretty long too in the NFL.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
wide receivers, anyways. Tight ends not so much. Tight ends is probably about the same because they're getting hit like a lot more.
Yeah, I'm sure most people on the line, especially. Yeah, like tight ends, running backs that are moving a lot on the line.
Yeah, they're asked to block a lot more. Like, because wide receivers never get asked to really block for the quarterback.
Yeah.
So, and tight ends or running backs, they have to step in and help block for the QB sometimes when the play's not going to them. So also adds physical stress and whatnot. But yeah, that's crazy. Like you said, though, it'll probably change over the years once the UFC gets more exposure. People start training more and more. You'll see that age start to dip down probably to like, maybe 30s, the new prime, or 25 even.
Maybe. Well, I mean, it's like so much goddamn shit to learn.
Exactly.
I don't know. I mean, John Jones, who's the light heavyweight champ right now, he's only like 24 years old. He's only been training mixed martial arts for like 4 years. So technically, I mean, he started pretty late, I guess. I mean, there's some guys that are coming in, they're like in their teens still, like 18, 19. I don't know. Who knows? It'll be weird. I think you have a lot more chance for longevity. I mean, it just depends on your fighting style, just like NFL. Depends on your playing style. If you're somebody like Anderson Silva, who barely ever gets fucking punched, he's going to have a long career. But if you're somebody like Vanderlei Silva, who just bull rushes in, I mean, he's still fighting. He's gone through crazy battles, but he's not going to have as long of a career. Although I could be wrong. I have a feeling they're like probably close to each other's age. But generally, that fighting style, you're not going to have that long of a career. Just because the more damage you take, it's just going to build up over time.
Yep. Especially
with the more education they're getting with with the NFL, with concussions and everything. I mean, when you get knocked out in any sport, that's a concussion basically. Whether minor or whatever, that's a type of concussion. It's brain damage, So a guy getting knocked out in the UFC versus the NFL, same thing, but the UFC stops the fight and he's done. NFL, if they don't catch it right, that guy can go back out and play some more. And even worse, boxing, where they have the 10 count. So the guy can get knocked out. He has 10 seconds to try and recover, and then he goes back in, maybe gets knocked out a few more times. So he gets like multiple concussions. That's probably like the most damaging, worst sports out there is boxing. And fucking boring too. There's not that many exciting boxers out there, in my opinion. It's just, I don't know anybody that will pay for a boxing pay-per-view or go watch a boxing fight and be excited to watch the whole card, as opposed to like MMA, where you don't even have to know anybody and you could still be amazed by the fights.
I know, it's for sure. It's like that whole world. I mean, yeah, boxing. There's some awesome classic boxing matches from some classics in every sport, but there is some awesome classics in the world of boxing, but
Oh, true.
it's just the sport, in my opinion, has been overtaken by a more progressive form, and that's the UFC.
More progressive, more dynamic too, because instead of just being two weapons with your fists, you have fists, knees, elbows, takedowns, dogs barking.
I know,
It's
sorry about
crazy.
that.
Who let the dogs
I
out?
got the door closed to my room, but they're still coming through. Whenever
That's all
somebody
good.
walks by or something, they fucking go off. I apologize.
It's all good. Yeah, but yeah, it's a totally different sport, and it's there's some people that don't give it its due credit, which is fine because a lot of people think probably that it's still like a sideshow entertainment type of deal, like when they first started, whereas no weight classes, no rules.
Oh yeah, just like kicking the guy in the nuts, jab him in the eyeball. But it's came a long way for sure, and the dogs still don't agree with their conversation too.
Yeah, I know. What the fuck?
I don't know what's going on out there.
It's all right.
I'm gonna have to go check it out here in a second, but we'll give it a little bit of time still.
Okay. Well, I was gonna kind of change gears, and we were talking about SOPA at the end of the last episode.
Yeah.
That hasn't gone through, right?
It does not. Actually,
Okay.
There's been a big development since we last had the podcast, or the last episode, I should say. Basically, the White House has came out and said that they will not support any sort of bill that is going to hinder communication on the internet, lock down websites, or censor certain websites based on corporate scrutiny, which is basically what SOPA is.
Yeah.
and for lack of a better, assessment.
Yeah. Well,
so basically,
Okay.
they did mention in the address that the issue of internet piracy is still a big deal and something that they want to address. But as far as SOPA and how it exists right now in its current state, they would definitely veto it. So it basically means the president will veto whatever thing that comes through Congress as far as SOPA goes.
Well, hopefully.
So it doesn't really kill the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because obviously, like they said in the statement, that they're still going to pursue some form or some avenue of being, or I don't know, just another way to basically try to combat internet piracy. They still want to pursue that. But as SOPA stands right now, this current state of the bill, they're definitely against it. So this at least is going to delay the process for who knows how long.
Yeah. Well, but then it's like, just because they say that doesn't necessarily mean they'll do that.
Yeah.
And there's the PIPA
That's another one too.
bill
Yeah.
that's going through, and it's basically the exact same thing, but nobody's talking about it. So I've heard people saying that the SOPA bill is kind of like a cover, like they'll just throw that out, they'll kill it, and then this other one will just sneak underneath it without, because everybody's focused on this one, they're not going to focus on both. So just to watch out for everybody listening.
Yeah, definitely.
If you're against SOPA, make sure you read up on the PIPA, PIPA.
Exactly.
People against, or I don't know what the fuck it stands for. Protect IP Act is what it stands for.
Yeah.
Protect Intellectual Property Act. Read up on that because it's basically the same thing as SOPA, and it's going through at the same time, basically. So just keep an eye out and
don't
make sure
forget,
that shit
everybody.
doesn't go through now. I mean, if you're unfamiliar with what those laws are, go. What was that website you said before? Go to.
I think it was my.American Censorship.
It's me or Stop American Censorship.
Okay.
Just Google that. AmericanCensorship.org.
There's also all sorts of there's a Wikipedia page for SOPA and PIPA. So that's another thing, another avenue to research
check
if you
those
just want to
out.
find out what they're about. So.
Yeah. And, the reason why we're, talking about this or passionate about this is, podcasts in general may be shut down. It gives, if companies feel that their copyright is being infringed on, like I'm wearing a Chargers jersey right now, maybe the Chargers organization shuts the podcast down because I'm wearing a fucking Chargers jersey and I didn't pay the goddamn NFL to rape my asshole so I could wear this on a camera and talk about shit. But right now I can, and my asshole's safe. So, make sure my asshole gets protected and vote against that shit because I like my asshole.
If anything else, everybody. If anything else, America.
That's what Protect IP stands for. ProtectMyAsshole.com. Yeah. Just protect it, please. I don't need it fucked. It's already getting fucked. I don't need it more fucked.
Yeah, basically what we're trying to say is, we've been talking about it a lot. But it's not over. A lot of people think that now it's over. Like, oh, the White House won't support it, so it's going to go away. No.
Yeah.
They're just going to rework it and try to sneak it in through some other loophole.
Yeah. Any opportunity they get to
the fight.
Get more control, they'll take it. They'll get any opportunity, and they're just going to use fear, and the fear of death, fear of terrorism, fear of losing money, fear of fucking anal warts, fear of
barking dogs,
Antichrist, fear of 2 barking dogs in the other room. They're gonna make you scared. Like, if you don't pass SOPA, the terrorists win. That may be something that they would say. If PIPA doesn't go through, Ray's asshole will stay unfucked. And as the government, we need to shove the US of A penis up inside Ray Taylor's asshole and make him cry.
For the sake of freedom.
Just so you're safe. Knowing that his asshole is secured with our government penis, you are now safe. I mean, that's just like an analogy, just a comparison, just to help people understand how very passionate I am about
how dire a situation this really is, and how passionate we are.
Yeah. The government's going to use terrorism. I'm going to use my asshole.
There you go.
So, watch out, because there's some dirty shit going on. And we both got something that produces that.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's, so...
That's all I got to say about that.
For the sake of the things Ray just mentioned, keep up the fight.
Yeah.
For sure. So just don't overlook it, because a lot of times the media tries to do that. I'm gonna do my best to keep a hold of it and keep updating my friends, on Twitter and Facebook and wherever else I'm connected.
For sure.
It hasn't gone away. It's just like the BP oil spill bullshit.
Yeah.
How maybe 2 months, 3 months later, oh, the oil's gone. It's at the bottom of the ocean now.
It's
don't worry. Dispersants made it go away.
Yeah. Oh, and the that whole meltdown radiation leak thing in Japan. It's all good. Don't worry about it. You still have sushi. There's sushi
media
everywhere.
The media lately, and I'm not talking about media from our government or information from our government, but I'm talking like other organizations too, like CNN, MSNBC, et cetera, et cetera. They seem to not cover those stories once they're not hot ticket news and something else comes along.
Well, and
they just drop it.
They take forever to start covering it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, just ignore, and then now it's a big thing. Everybody's talking about it on Twitter. So let's kind of talk about it, and then we'll have Twitter scrolling underneath the screen, and then we'll comment on Twitter comments.
And basically, a lot of these things they're covering deserve revisits constantly, because the situation is still unfolding. Yeah.
Just because people are bored and it's not, a trending topic on Twitter, doesn't mean it's not still going on. It doesn't mean that the radiation just all of a sudden disappeared. It's not like the oil just disappeared out of the Gulf. It's there's so many goddamn things that they just we'll move on to the other thing.
Yeah. So
which I don't even know.
That was the analogy I was trying to make, though.
Yeah.
So.
Good analogy. Good job.
Thank you so much. Yeah. I appreciate that, Ray. I worked hard on that one for you.
Thank you for trying to steer away from my asshole.
That too. And, don't forget America. It's a dire situation.
It is a dire situation. Which is, I was watching one of the Death Squad podcasts. I think it was the Naughty Show, one of the most recent Naughty shows. And they had a porn star on there that was also a Penthouse playmate. And a lot of porn stars have wish lists, public wish lists on Amazon. So basically, fans can buy the porn stars shit, like dildos or lingerie or whatever, which is really fucking weird. Death Squad, the podcast network, they have their own wish list, which is a cool idea. It's where you can buy podcasting equipment like microphones, microphone stands, cameras, chairs for the podcast, because they don't really have sponsors. They don't have steady sponsors. So like that's one way that you can sponsor, like buying something on their wish list, and then they'll like pimp your shit on one of their shows. But they had this one porn star, and they were talking about on the Naughty Show. They like to talk about recently anyway, end of the world or like zombie apocalypse. What would you do in a zombie apocalypse? And she actually had on her wish list, like she had sporadic like adult things, but then there were also like, you know, a food storage thing, a machete, like a bunch of different survival gear things, which is actually, after watching that, I actually started a wish list of my own. It's public, but I don't have the website yet for it. I don't know the address or whatever, and I don't really want anybody to buy me shit, but I started a wish list more for myself, just so I can keep track of things that I would like to buy in case of an apocalypse, which, you know, I guess I should probably buy before the apocalypse, because I don't know if the internet or Amazon would work after. But it's like just a bunch of stuff like that big bucket of food that lasts for 20 years that, you know, feeds 4 people for 20 days, and just a bunch
those
of
are good to have. Yeah, I was actually thinking about getting one of those myself recently too, because they're actually not that expensive.
Yeah,
they're like $100 for like a big bucket.
Yeah,
You know, it's always good to have just in case. I mean, the blackout here in San Diego was a good kind of, you know, wake up call. That's what got me thinking, was that blackout experience. You know.
Yeah. Well, and like we talked about a few podcasts ago, it's like in San Diego, we had not even a full 24 hours. It was like maybe 12 hours where we didn't have electricity. And there was a little bit of shit going on here and there. Not a whole lot of stuff. It's not like LA where there probably would have been riots. But you go a week where people can't get gas. People can't, you know, use anything in their house. You know, cell phones don't work anymore. You go a week and it's going to get pretty sketchy. Yeah, so it's like, yeah, I put tons. I went through Amazon. I put like a compass, like this crazy high-tech compass, 5-in-1 survival kit, which is like, what is it? It's like a fire starter and a compass and some paracord, and there's another thing that's like a pocket chainsaw, canteen, a bracelet that's paracord that you can, you know, unravel it, and it's like 25 feet of rope. Stuff, tablets to make water sanitary. Just like, I just went through crossbows, fucking first aid kits. I just went through Amazon and just like started adding a bunch of shit to like and I made a special wish list, my survival wish list on Amazon, of just shit that I actually would not mind having a lot of this shit just in case, you know? Because you never know, dude. Shit goes down. You may have to worry about water and food. And
yeah, well, plus, I mean, the main thing is that blackout situation could, you know, very well happen again. I mean, that was just caused by one little situation at one particular, you know, power plant, and it's spiraled down to be a whole city that got blacked out by it. And it's, you know, just the fact of the matter is, we're part of that. I forgot the technical name for it is, but I think it's the Sunrise Power Link.
Yeah.
Something like that. Maybe that's the one they were trying to build to prevent this from happening again. It was the Sunrise Power Link. I'll have to do some research on that. But yeah, basically San Diego gets its power from like 2 spots, and that's it. You know, it's like off to the east and from the north, and that's it.
Yeah. Even though we have a fucking nuclear power plant right off the 5.
Yeah.
You know, and it's the whole thing about that fucking power outage. I don't buy it for once. I mean, it's horrible. Either if it's what their explanation is true, or if that is their explanation, either way, it's horrible. The fact that they said it was one person's mistake caused this, and then somehow it in both things, like, it didn't work. So like, there's one person that's in charge of power for like, you know, millions of people. That's pretty stupid. Why is there only one person in charge and no fail safes in place? And 2, if they actually do have a lot of fail safes in place and they all went down, what the fuck are they saying that it's just one person in charge of that shit? Like, there's no reality, like the reality they tried to create to explain this thing, which everybody seemed to be okay with, that it was just one person, it was one person's fault, and nothing is ever said. Nobody knows who this one person is, and somehow they have this kind of control, this one little thing that has this chain reaction that everybody's out of power for like 12 fucking hours. I don't buy that for 1 second. I think a lot of people fucked up and they're just trying to, brush it under the rug. And during the whole rolling blackout shit, like, power companies make billions of dollars when the electricity's out. So having most of Southern California out of electricity, how much money do they fucking make? And you compare that to how much money I had to pay. I just didn't have to pay my cable bill or my electric bill. It was a lot lower than normal because there's 12 hours that I didn't use it. But was there like any kind of, rebate or compensation for all the people that were without power for 12 hours? No. They got a sorry. They got a sorry, and it was that guy's problem. It wasn't our company. Our company's good. It was one guy fucked up, and there's this chain reaction thing, and it took us like a long time to get it fixed. But it's just one guy's fault. So don't blame us. And don't worry, it's not like you're gonna have a bill. You didn't have electricity, so we're not gonna charge you for electricity. But I'm sure we got a ton of fucking money because electricity was out more than any of the rolling blackouts. I don't know, that's a little conspiracy thing. I don't think necessarily it's true, but I think that there was a lot of fuck ups, and the explanation they gave was pretty fucking bullshit. And I don't think, of course, like the media, nobody gives a fuck. And then as soon as the power went on, social media wise, nobody really investigated anymore. So everybody just kind of went with the bullshit explanation of this one guy that fucked up.
For sure, yeah. Did you expect any of the other kind of response, though, from a company like that? I mean, that was such a... Well, I knew for a fact they're going to say it was the one guy's mess up, because if they came out and said that, yeah, it was a massive structural failure, it was this, it was that, it was a network issue, it was our fault, basically, if they would have owned up to it, that would have them liable for a bunch of lawsuits from different companies, and,
Yeah. I thought they would go a little bit more gray area
behind it.
I think... I knew they're not going to take blame for it, obviously, but blaming one guy is pretty fucking stupid. That's like,
yeah, that's
it's like a new hire's like
it's
excuse.
The most expected response. So at the same time, it's also the most bullshit response, because that's what everybody expected to hear from them, and that's actually what they heard from them was that.
I don't know.
So
I think they could have just said we're having technical difficulties. I don't think they ever had to really explain. Or they never had to say it was one person. They didn't even have to blame a person. They could have said, we had systems in place. Something weird happened that we never planned for. And this, or they wouldn't even have to go that far. It's like, we're having technical difficulties. We're going to have power up as soon as possible. Whatever the problem is, it will be fixed and resolved. This will never happen again. We're sorry, whatever. But they never said sorry. And they never really blew it off like that. They just kind of like, oh, we'll just pass it off on this guy, which there's no guy. Who's the guy?
I know, seriously.
There's no Joe the plumber, there's nobody to like that actually is the guy, So I think big companies, when they fuck up and they fail and their systems don't work, like the banks and, electrical or whoever, when their shit doesn't work, it's like they're so used to not having to ever have to explain themselves, or just, just ignore it and it goes away. I just don't think they're very good at fucking explaining shit, or, at least I don't think they're even good at like coming up with a good explanation, like something that's even like palatable, like something that I could swallow. Like that just seemed like a fifth grader writing an essay on what they think the reason for the power outage was. Like, that's what he came up with. And then the teacher's like, that was very interesting, but, that's pretty stupid. Nobody's going to do that. Because that's how teachers talk to kids.
I hear you, man.
No,
it's, so much bullshit, but that whole event and just kind of what happened after that, basically. Because it makes you realize how reliant we all are on just the whole, the grid in general. it's always good to have just a backup, just for a few days. You never know.
Yeah.
Just get something lined up, and that's what I'm looking to do here pretty soon. Is just have a backup supply of like those buckets you can buy online, basically.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Buckets. It would be nice, a little solar power. Just like a solar panel that you could plug something into if you need to recharge it.
They actually have those.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, or a crank up radio. There's a lot of things that don't. You can kind of generate your own power from to use. I definitely. I think I mentioned this on Twitter a while ago too. I don't know if I think it was before the power outage, but it's surprising because I was looking for solar chargers for my phone, or they have like little car chargers or portable, little backpack charger things. It's amazing to me that like vertical blinds, there's like no company making vertical blinds that have solar panels on the outside part. So when they're closed, you can plug the blinds into your, have it wired into your electrical, or just capturing that fucking sunlight that you're blocking out with the blinds, or like roof tiles, or just building materials in general that face the sun. Like, why aren't there companies making like integrated network-based, smart power type of solar cells into these things? It's like, you mount solar plates on your roof, but they don't make roofs out of solar panels. But I don't understand why. You could do a whole roof out of solar panels, and then it does two things. It protects your building, and you get power from it. It's like, it seems like there's a lot of opportunities for businesses to make easy, like, I mean, if they made vertical blinds that I could put in my window and there was like little USB plugs on it that I could run a cord down to my phone or whatever, that would be fucking awesome. I'd buy it, It's a $100 set of blinds. I'd buy that shit. I'm sure they could do that.
Oh, definitely.
I wish I was a fucking engineer, and I would do it, and I'd probably be making millions.
Yeah, it all comes down to how cheap they're able to produce the actual panels for, which I'm not sure how cheap they can actually mass produce those still at this point.
Well, you can get, I've seen like the 3-panel solar panel things. I've seen the you know what I'm saying? I've seen the 3-panel solar panel things.
Fangled fucking bullshit.
You go those like, I don't know, I'm going in like a British accent. But anyway, you go to like a Costco or a Home Depot or something, they usually have like those, 3 little solar panel deals for like $200-$300.
Yeah.
If you can produce something like that, a high end, I mean, it'd obviously be a premium for some goddamn blinds, but, the design is already there. I mean, people know how to do fucking blinds. All you have to do is just, instead of, whatever the fuck they're made of, plastic slits, you put fucking solar panels on it.
For sure.
I mean, it's easy, right?
Yeah, totally easy. Let's do it.
I would assume. Or there's little sensors, like they have things that they could put. They're talking about putting in like Grand Central Station, like things that they can lay underneath the walkways and things like that of Grand Central Station. And just from the energy produced of people walking over the lobby and all the walkways of Grand Central Station, that could like power New York City.
Yeah.
Like, but they just have to put it in there. But of course they don't, because, the electric companies would go out of business. And they have huge lobbies, because they've been around since fucking Edison and Tesla. So it's like,
well, it goes back even to, Edison versus Tesla as far as that whole mentality goes.
Yeah.
Because basically Tesla was trying to develop a system of technology to where electricity was just generated from like just through the air, basically. It was just like he was capturing natural electricity, basically, is what his systems were trying to do.
Yeah.
And but Edison's way was more corporate friendly. It involved like power plants and et cetera, et cetera. So as far as that whole way of thinking, it goes back to when electricity was first starting like to be developed. For society, basically.
Well, it's like anything. I think like one of the first automobiles ever invented was electric or steam. Electric or steam, either way. And,
Oh, just the whole idea of the internal combustion engine that we all still have on our cars is like it's been outdated for like 50 years.
Yeah.
It's like it's something crazy like that. I mean, I know it's at least like 4 or 5 decades now, though.
Yeah.
We're just now starting to see innovation, like with fuel cells and this and that, electric cars. It's because like people are starting to realize we're not going to have gas forever, But it's like it had to take us to get to this point where we're like, oh shit, now we're like having to do frack, basically like extract oil from the earth, the core of the earth, and like break up the earth and get the oil from that. We're basically fucking up like our Earth's surface, by the constant need and corporate
not
push
only
for
that,
oil.
We're fucking up everything.
We're everything.
Up
It's not just that, but that's
trees.
It's getting to that point now. It's getting so extreme that we're actually like fucking up the earth, like the crust of the earth.
Every fucking aspect
crazy.
of it. The fucking ocean, we're polluting with oil and trash. The fucking forests, we're chopping down to make paper. Which who the fuck uses paper anymore?
I know that's
you're fucking ruining mountains because you're strip mining for minerals. There's crazy wars in Africa for the same reasons, but nobody gives a fuck about Africa. It's like it's complete chaos just so people can extract every last fucking bit out of every piece of this earth.
Oh yeah.
Until it's just wasted, And who knows, man? Are we gonna strip everything away from the earth before it all ends? Are we gonna leave here before it all ends? Are we just? Is it like two things, like the end of society or the end of existence as we know it, and what we have to sustain the life we have? Are those things are they all meeting and that's like the end of everything? I mean, that's obviously not 2012. I don't think we're that close to running out of every fucking thing.
No, definitely not.
But it's a fucking
we're
crazy
talking
thing.
Like, I mean, we're talking like our kids' kids. It's like
maybe
not. Who knows?
Maybe our kids.
You never know. You never know. But it's like it's just if we stay in the same path, if there isn't like actual change as far as how we get our resources. We're going to basically it's going to be like if we've all seen the movie Wall-E. Look at the beginning of that movie. It's like the robots cleaning up an Earth that's just been ransacked, that has just been taken for every last little bit it had. It's going to be the future of this planet, unless we don't do something soon to reverse that. And solar panels, electric cars, these are all like awesome new ways to go about doing things. But what's the X factor? It's money. It's always money. It's the system we have in place. This it's basically the greed. It's basically human greed that has stopped the progression for us to get to be a sustainable creature on this earth. It will never happen as long as money is the ultimate, system or the ultimate way. I'm getting preachy, man. I'm sorry.
No, it's preachy. We're fucking everybody, like humankind, is so goddamn afraid of change. Like we just want to be comfortable. Like we want to, like if something works, like the whole saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Right?
Yeah.
Like just because it works doesn't mean it's the best system or the best thing to be doing what it's doing. Just because it ain't broke doesn't necessarily mean you shouldn't try and find a new system or a new way to do it. And I think it's just our society used to be, I think it's changing now, is we get so lackadaisical with what we're used to and what's going on that we forget that there may be better ways. We've been using gas so long that maybe there's other ways to fuel our vehicles. Or other types of vehicles that we can make. But we're going through this slow snail thing. It's like, oh, instead of trying to find a different fuel source, it's like we're just going to make gas guzzlers less guzzly. They're just not going to use as much gas.
Yeah, they're temporary patches to a huge problem that nobody wants to address, because addressing that problem means some company or multiple companies lose money,
Yeah.
And that's the bottom line. That's how it's always going to be unless that mentality somehow, not just in society, but our government changes.
Yeah.
So,
and
that's what it's going to take.
Again, it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I don't know if the system that we have as a government, I don't think if that's set up in a way to change as radically as we need to have it change.
Exactly.
You know, if Ron Paul gets into office, I don't know if what he sets out to do is going to be enough to change. You know, I mean, this similar things people were saying before Obama got elected. You know, it's like, yeah, he talks a lot of change, and yeah, he's disappointed a lot of people, but even still, it's like all the things that he wanted to do, realistically, a lot of that shit. I mean, the way everything takes so goddamn long, you know? I mean, you just look at a regular company. There's a decision the company wants to make. It takes a lot of time, unless it's like Apple. You know, that's one of the things listening to the Steve Jobs documentary. Every time, everybody that's like new to the Apple Corporation, like when they were doing the iPod and things like that, they were so amazed how like Steve Jobs makes a decision and bam, it's done. Normal companies would go through meetings and focus groups and meetings and, you know, months and months down the road, then a decision's made. But you have a business set up like Apple where instantly a decision's made and it readjusts that company in a way that, you know, helps them. Our government is set up worse than most of these companies out there, you know, that already take a long time. There's so much goddamn red tape in companies and in the government that we have that, you know, the change that we may need may not be able to achieve through the government that we have. And that's why, you know, all these different movements going on, not just here but everywhere, is crazy, you know, because maybe there is a big thing going on, you know, maybe there is a big change going on. And it's you look at like a lot of the documentaries made before, like non-political documentaries necessarily in the last few years. There's been a lot of documentaries like Super Size Me and things like that, where it focuses on our country's inability to eat healthy. And that's kind of spreading throughout the world, where just people are becoming overweight, like very much like, you know, Wall-E.
Yep.
And it's, you know, everybody, and you look around, you know, you go to a mall, you go whatever, and it's like people are getting huge. And then you think back, you think about like Roman times, you think about like the Sistine Chapel and like, you know, all the Age of Enlightenment, all the art that was going on. You see all of the people portrayed in that artwork. You know, they're very gluttonous. They eat, you know, they're very voluptuous and everything. It's, you know, it's like, because that society kind of, that was a sign of wealth and things like that and prosperity. And it's like now if it's almost similar, you know, like there's so many fat people, and it's like maybe just we interpreted that wrong. Maybe just in that time period, maybe there was just a ton of fat people, you know, and now we're just kind of getting back to that, and history's repeating itself, but in a way that we necessarily didn't see coming. You know,
that's a good thing.
And everything's fucking falling too. You know, everybody's just like consumption. Nobody's fucking making anything. Everybody's lazy, eating grapes, getting fat, and nobody's actually making anything. Similar to like, you know, Roman Empire falling.
A lot of people today, yeah. I mean, those who don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it.
Yep.
You know, and obviously, humankind has not learned. But
yeah,
you know,
I think a lot of people think of that too narrowly. You know, the history repeating itself. Like, they're thinking back, you know, we don't want another World War II. You know, we don't want another Vietnam, even though we had fucking the war we're in right now, which is basically like just a crazy sequel. You know, but there's things way back in the future, like just where did we all come from? Like, why? Maybe like the people that survived were just like the few people that survived the last huge fallout, and now like we're just the ones to come here, and you know there's remnants of all the past different societies and everything still back. You know, we're still finding, you know, big temples and tombs and pyramids.
Hey, we're getting into some ancient alien shit tonight, man. This is awesome.
Well, we can get into whatever the fuck we want. But that's another thing. Now that you brought that up, thank you, Justin. What I was gonna talk about last podcast, I was super out of it. I'm not very good at recording early in the morning. Not that it was early; it was like noon, but that's early to me. But I was just out of it last podcast, and we kind of talked about, or I mentioned that I had seen Cowboys versus Aliens on New Year's.
Yep.
And I texted you while I was watching that movie and said I had a crazy angle on the whole movie. I wasn't really paying attention to it, but I like just kind of, my mind was drifting, and I like kind of wrapped on this weird theory that is probably not true, but it was interesting for me. It was more interesting than watching the movie. It's just thinking about that theory. But yeah, basically, like, history repeating itself. Like, if you were to think of Cowboys versus Aliens as possibly being a true story, not that there's any records of it, but maybe whatever, who knows? In this thought process of mine, let's just say, and maybe the people that are on Earth and the people that are aliens are relatives of the same people that all used to be from Earth at one point in time, way, way back. And then the people that ended up going into outer space were the technological people, the really smart scientists and rich people that could afford to go in outer space. But people that, first world country type people that had the ability to leave this planet. Like, a lot of people are talking about leaving the planet right now, as a possibility, as opposed to, like, maybe we can't fix this shit, so we should just bounce and go somewhere else. We should go to the next party. So, like, aliens are descendants of those people, or maybe even those people that just have life extension and are still alive. Whereas the people on Earth, a lot of the idiots and the poor people, not that they're related, idiots being separate from poor people, the idiots died off that just, were too stubborn. Like they're still rooting for Sarah Palin to be president. Those people die off. And then just like the people that are strong and survive, the outdoors people that aren't necessarily technologically inclined or, don't have billions of dollars. Those people somehow survived, like the rugged people. And because they survived and because they went through such hard times, they became very one with Earth. They became very one with nature, and because the old society of what they knew before was completely gone, and generations down the road, they found a new way of just surviving, and a lot of that was based on hunting, gathering, living off the earth and what it provided. So that would be like the Indians. And then later, obviously, the Cowboys would be kind of like the spurt off of the new technological people. But it would be like if the aliens came down, it was like the old past people or generations of people or the same people coming down who have mass knowledge because they left the earth and they didn't die or whatever. And they have computers. I mean, you think about your cell phone, that's like an extension of your brain. I don't have to remember nearly as much shit as I used to. I don't have to remember phone numbers or appointments or anything. It's all on my phone. So, the aliens have all this technology that's grown exponentially like it's growing now. And then you have all the naturalist people that, are Indians and one with the earth and doing a lot more spiritual type things. Like, Indians took peyote and, a lot of psychedelics in a lot of places. They're a lot more one with the earth, a lot more in tune with nature. And maybe them being in tune with nature was actually their way of communicating with their, a lot of people say that psychedelics, especially heavy doses of psychedelics, kind of gets you in tune with past, generations and past people that have experienced the same thing. And maybe like the communication of the Indians and the people that were really one with Earth, that was their communication, like their Skype to the alien race. And maybe it's just like an outdated way. So, the miscommunication, who knows? I don't know. Those were the thought processes going through my head while I was watching Cowboys versus Aliens.
Well, dude, as far-fetched as some of that stuff might seem to a lot of people, it's totally believable in my opinion. You know, if what trips me out the most is when you hear people describe like what the grays, quote unquote, look like. You know, supposedly what the common figure is for the aliens that we supposedly see in our skies that abduct people, you know, we've all heard the stories, you know.
Yeah.
But if you look at the average description of like what the gray alien looks like, imagine a human being if we actually evolved over the course of like another, say, million years or a couple million years. Don't you think we would like develop like a bigger brain for one, you know, bigger eyes, better eyesight. You know, maybe we're weaker because we're using technology more and more to where we don't need that muscle mass anymore. And you know, what do you have after that? You have like basically like what the Greys are described as being. You know, like big eyes, big head, real skinny. You know, it's like what if this is another tangent, but I mean, what if those gray aliens, like you said, in a sense, is what you said also. What if they're just us? You know, from so many years in the future or our past even. You know, the whole concept of time is not linear like a lot of people think it is, you know. And that's been proven. So it's you never know, and especially with technology as far as what they could accomplish being that far ahead of us, who knows what they can do as far as bounce around time. That doesn't seem too far-fetched, you know.
Yeah. Well, all you have to do to like get a concept of how time isn't relative, watch one of those like Life or one of those BBC documentaries, and you watch like the time lapse videos of plants growing. Like the plant that like has a hook at the end and like climbs up a tree, and then the hook embeds and then it grows, and it's like a living organism, which is like Snoop Dogg's version of an organism, which will happen in the future because he's going to be like a president at some point.
Organism.
Yeah, so he's going to be an organism going up the tree, and you know, you look at it in time lapse and it looks like a worm almost growing and climbing up a tree. But, you know, if you're looking at it in our perspective of time, it's slow. You don't even see it moving. You know, and that's just kind of how time is relative to that plant. It's moving at a much faster pace, or to us, if the plant's looking at us, we're like fucking crazy. I don't even know if it could see us. We're moving so fast, you know, compared to how fast it's moving. And then you look at animals like dogs. Like dogs age 7 times faster. Now, is their perception of time 7 times faster than ours? Like, are we moving 7 times faster than they are?
And that's the point I was trying to make, was that time isn't like this set group of numbers that everybody adheres to, you know.
Which I don't think dogs actually think. I don't think they see 7 times faster than we do. I just think biologically they're not set up.
Well,
like
but
I mean, plants is the point that would prove the whole. In my opinion, anyway. Watching that shit, it really makes you understand the whole concept of time being relative a lot more. You know.
Yeah, dude. I hear you.
Yeah.
And I totally understand that perspective, that viewpoint, you know. And it's like, the fact of the matter is, besides the whole alien thing, because that's all, of course, that's all speculation.
Yeah.
But what isn't speculation is just the fact that, you know, we have ruins on this earth that still exist that show that there was a level of technology, you know, thousands of years ago that in some cases we still can't figure out, you know.
Yeah.
And that's not speculation, like I said. That's like proven fact that there's cuts in stone, you know, for Mayan ruins, and there's things the Egyptians did. You know, especially as far as building the pyramids is concerned, that's like, we still can't figure out how they did that today with 2012 technology. And that happened supposedly, you know, we're talking like 3,000-4,000 years ago, you know? So just, it's trippy. It's basically, this could all be just like a cycle that we're going through, a cycle of humanity. Maybe humanity does go in cycles, you know?
Yeah.
Like we progress to a certain limit, and all of a sudden there's some major event where we not maybe die off completely, but the numbers get thinned, you know, and then kind of like we start again.
And then the people that survive end up being the new Native Americans.
Going back to what you were saying earlier, you know, it all makes sense if you kind of lump it in that kind of perspective, you know.
It's fucking crazy, man.
It's crazy to think about.
Yeah. I was just about to say something and I totally lost what I was going to say. It's amazing. Yeah. So that just happened.
Well, maybe next time figure it out and get that shit going for the next episode. You never know.
Exactly.
Till the next episode.
To the next episode. So we talked about UFC, NFL, all that shit. Blah, 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 blah.
Ancient Aliens.
Oh yeah. Well, something I kind of brought up to you before, which I think would be cool, especially if we could get like our listeners to have input. If anybody has input, it'd be really cool to do like inspired disorder drinking game for the show.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking, like anytime like we cuss or something like that, maybe there's a drink. Although I think that would probably be a lot of drinks. Or if we like lose track, like I just did, I fucking lost track of what my point was. If we ever say like, what was I talking about? Or I forgot where my point was. Maybe that would be a drink. Or if you can point out that somebody's going on a crazy rant or tangent, that would be a drink. Or you could do like, you could point out whoever first one to call it can. Not that people are socially listening to this. I don't know. It'd be cool. Maybe just a little idea.
Every time Justin mentions a conspiracy theory.
Yeah. Every time aliens is said, you have to take a shot.
Every time Justin mentions aliens, you take a shot.
Yeah.
Or talk about ancient ruins that exhibit a high level of technology past the point we currently have in 2012. You take a shot, 2 shots for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Or anytime you talk down Tebow, which probably won't be till the next season. I was so glad he fucking lost, man. I was so tired of hearing goddamn Tebow this, Tebow that.
I knew because Tom Brady's the kind of guy who, whenever there's like, I don't know, when people forget about him, he's like, "Hey, motherfuckers, look what I can do."
Yeah.
And that's kind of what Tom Brady did yesterday. It was like, "Oh, you guys like Tebow? Look at this. I'm going to throw for 6 touchdowns and like 600 yards.
Yeah. No, so, and I was actually...
You think he's a good quarterback? Check this out.
It's like, oh, you guys talk about him all the time. That's great. Watch what a real quarterback can do.
Oh,
I can actually complete
he's
passes.
A winner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he's such a winner, huh? Well, does he have 3 Super Bowl rings?
Who's got the chicken dinner now, bitch? Who's got the chicken dinner now?
Tom Brady would never say that, but I mean, that guy, if you ever read the biography of Tom Brady, is actually kind of crazy. He's had to basically fight and scrap his way to the top in like every portion of his football career.
I think that's probably similar to Tebow, from just people, defenders of Tebow. Like a lot of them love how hard he works.
That's true. But it's a similar thing, but there just wasn't ever like the hype around him like Tebow had.
Yeah. I don't like Tom Brady, but if he was having the same kind of media coverage that Tebow was having, I would have another reason to not like Tom Brady, other than he's plays for the Patriots. And I don't like the Patriots.
I'm not saying I like that. I'm in love with the guy either. Of course, I'm not. I mean,
you are, dude. It's okay. Let it out.
Fuck. God damn it. Fuck him, Ray. Fuck the Patriots, man. I'm a Charger fan.
Yeah, you want to?
Don't you ever say that to me?
Yep. Yeah. No, I'm so glad. Well, two reasons I was glad that they got beat down. One, I just wanted them to lose. I wanted the Broncos to lose. But I was also glad that it was a blowout because the fights, UFC fights started, and I didn't want to have to be jumping back and forth watching 2 screens. That way I could just focus on the crazy knockouts and submissions of the UFC.
Nice.
So it was a win-win for me,
For sure. No, just the point I was trying to make earlier was just that Tom Brady has a way of like when people aren't really, giving him the attention that he thinks he needs or something.
Yeah.
He will show them what's up. And I think the Tebow hype kind of got him pissed and was kind of like, "Wait, you're not going to talk about me? Like you're talking about Tebow the whole time? Okay, you'll see."
Yeah.
Almost kind of like it might have been vengeance against the media for all of the Tebow hype, but
yeah.
I don't know, man.
My favorite
the Patriots came out firing, though.
Yeah. Did you hear the Jimmy Fallon thing? The music video?
The Tim Tebow.
Yeah.
Ground control. Jesus Christ to Tim Tebow.
Yeah. I'm going to play that.
Awesome.
Now. Unless there's a commercial. Yeah, there's a little commercial. Yeah. So Jimmy Fallon on his thing, like the night before.
Tim Tebow and
There we
David
go.
Bowie together as one. Ladies and gentlemen, T. Bowie.
This is Jimmy Fallon. Jimmy Fallon Show.
Tim Tebow to Jesus Christ. Tim Tebow to Jesus Christ. Can't win by myself, but with your help I might. Tim Tebow to Jesus Christ. 7, 6. Commencing fourth down, hut, hike. Snap the football and may God's love be with me. This is Jesus Christ to Tim Tebow. Please leave me alone. Don't you know my day of rest is Sunday? And I'm sick of watching all these Broncos games. I hear that you play New England next week. Dude, you're on your own. Brady is too good and I've got better things to do. Though I passed 316 yards, there's still 2 games to go. If I want to make it to the Super Bowl and show everyone on earth how to Tebow. Tim Tebow to Jesus Christ, the Broncos won. We're still alive. Come on, everyone, Tebow. Come on, everyone, Tebow. Come on, everyone, Tebow. Come on, everyone, Tebow.
So good.
Awesome.
Yeah. That made me feel good. I was so happy. A coworker.
It's awesome
of
too
mine-
because that was filmed before the game yesterday too,
Yeah.
and perfect prediction.
Yeah.
Dude, you're on your own, bro. Brady's too good.
Yep. So
That's basically what happened.
just in the event that say Tebow is the next Jesus Christ, and this loss also indicates the end of the world this year, what do you think would be your top 3 survival essentials?
Top 3.
Yeah, why not?
Survival essentials.
Yeah. I'm
just
kind
for-
of cheating because I'm looking at my wish list right now, and I can just kind of go, but just off the top of your head. No pressure, Justin. But right now, at this very moment, what would be your top 3?
Damn. So you're talking about basic essentials, not like tech essentials, not like there's no.
Yeah, well, there's no electricity, so you need something.
A bucket that can be converted to a shitter.
Well, here I'll go with my 3. How about that? And you go after yours.
Okay.
Or after I go, or whatever. So one would be that bucket of food, right? Because then I guess you could use it for a shitter, or you know, you could always just shit over a ledge or something. But yeah, the bucket of food would be good because food, very important. Can't say there's no food in stores. You're fucked. I'd probably go. So you need food, you need water, you need shelter. Those are the main things. Obviously, we're gonna have shelter for a little bit until people go crazy, really crazy. So I would say food, then some way to get water, or some guess store up on water or something. So I don't know. Which I read something on Twitter today, which I don't know if it's true. I didn't follow up on it, but that the government's trying to outlaw people like collecting rainwater. I don't know if that's true or not, but that would be pretty retarded because a lot of our country does that. Collects rainwater for their water. I remember visiting a lot of friends, or not a lot of friends. I remember going to Hawaii when I was a little kid, and the places I went to, most of the houses, that's what they did. Because it's rainforest, so they collected rainwater, and that's what they used in their homes. So I guess water containers, or store water, things to store water. And I would probably want like a machete, some kind of weapon.
Oh, definitely.
You can go with a gun, but you run out of bullets, you're fucked. The gun breaks, you're fucked. A good old sword or knife or machete or something like that, all you got to do is sharpen it. Even if it's dull, it's still going to be painful. It's going to be some kind of weapon. Which I guess those would be my top 3, which are pretty general. So if you want to go a little obscure, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a heavy question, man.
I know.
Definitely water, a way to purify water. Some way where you can take, water existing around you and purify that so you can drink and cook with it.
They sell on Amazon. They sell portable aqua water treatment tablets for $6.20.
There you go.
Yeah,
that would be clutch. And a bucket basically full of essentials, something that you could take and then use for other things as well. Also, some way to generate electricity, like handheld, which I think would be clutch as well. Like any sort of turn radio, those ones where you can turn it and it charges battery up and fucking get that thing going. Basic stuff. I mean, as far as what I would like to be able to endure my lifestyle I enjoy, something like a solar panel, of some sort that you can hook up and then charge your cell phone with.
But the thing is, you charge your cell phone, but are you going to be able to do anything with your cell phone? Is there going to be any internets? I mean, when we had the blackout, after 6 to 8 hours, the cell phone towers were gone, so you didn't have any connection. No, you couldn't make calls, you couldn't hop online. So you'd be able to play music off your phone, but that's pretty much it. Or whatever you had locally on your phone, you weren't connected. After 8 hours of no power, you're not connected to anything anymore. Just throwing that out there. Sorry.
Oh my god, yeah,
it's pretty scary.
Yeah, a weapon of some sort too.
Okay.
If it is a gun, then I want a lot of bullets.
Yeah. Slingshot.
Yeah, slingshot would be awesome. That's something that's just real basic.
Although I don't know if slingshot really. Are we gonna take anything down with a slingshot?
Well, you get him right in the face, get him right in the eyeball.
You could annoy the fuck out of him. That's for sure.
But yeah, a big machete or something would be awesome too. I would prefer a huge shotgun or a long distance rifle of some sort. I'd like a good mix of weapons. You got to have your shotty, you got to have your 9mm of some sort, or Desert Eagle.
Close range.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah,
you got to have your long distance weapon too. You got to have your sniper rifle. So I'd like a nice little assortment of weapons. Of course, I mean, that's necessary.
So do you ever watch? I'm sure you've watched, but the survival shows like Man vs. I think we've mentioned this on the show before, but Man vs. Wild and all those Survivor Man and all that kind of shit. You ever watch those shows?
I have, yeah, and I would not be as okay as those guys would be.
Yeah,
well, in the situation.
The interesting thing, because I've gone on many, I go on marathons of different shows. I just went on a marathon of How I Met Your Mother. But I've gone on marathons of watching Man vs. Wild and Woman vs. Wild, Survivor Man, all those different shows. And they're all pretty, they're educational as far as after a while, even though they go to crazy different places, there's a lot of basic things that you do, shelter, water, food, and different orders and different, just really basic things that, for basic survival purposes would be helpful, if you're out and it starts getting dark, fire and shelter are very important things. You can live a little bit without food and water, so those are the first two things you'd want, is shelter for sure, and then fire for warmth. But yeah, I've I've had moments of addiction to those shows. And I would definitely recommend people watch those shows for educational purposes, just in case shit goes down. I mean, you could watch The Walking Dead, but realistically, not many like survival tips in that show. Just saying. Just trying to help people, you know?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, it's something I should probably pay attention to more also.
Yeah.
They're all on Netflix now, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they are. That's how I watch all of them. But, you know,
Sweet.
I'm fucking... Maybe I'm just over paranoid. I don't know. But anyway.
Better safe than sorry.
That's true. Better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Exactamundo.
But cool, man. Was there anything else you want to talk about, man?
Not that I can conjure in my current brain state, but
it's all good. We've gone for almost 2 hours. That's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Gone over some stuff. We can always go and do another one pretty soon.
For sure.
It's the advantage of not having...
We could do a full episode on the whole Ancient Alien stuff, in my opinion.
I'm good. Actually, I've only watched a few of those, but I want to watch more.
I love it, man. That's the show I'm addicted to.
Yeah.
Well, not currently. Kind of waned off. I'm not watching the newest season right now, but I've watched the first 3 seasons on Netflix.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Sweet. Yeah.
A lot of it's kind of far-fetched. Like, they stretch a little too far on some stuff.
Yeah.
But the majority of it kind of like, get you thinking, you know? It's trippy. It's trippy stuff to watch.
I mean, yeah, that's the whole thing with anything, is just being open to the possibility of a new or a different way of explaining shit.
Yeah.
You know? A lot of people, like, especially like religious people, they're like, oh, it's in this book, and what this book says, that's what it is. So we don't really need to actually learn anything else because it's in this book, and this book says everything. And it's, yeah, I mean, it's been translated a bunch of times, but it says the right shit, you know, right? So, yeah, so we got a book, and the book tells everything that we need to know.
Well, it's good to see that way of thinking is kind of starting to kind of slowly kind of, you know, not drift away by any means, but,
I don't know,
just the amount of people that are open to different ideas is,
I don't know if it has. I think just the way we're connected now, we're able to connect to people that are more like-minded, you know? Like,
very true.
We follow more people that are in line with what we believe in rather than just everyday, just the people we run into down the street. So, yeah. But that show, I definitely, I agree. It's super interesting, but it does kind of go a little off kilter sometimes.
It does.
Yeah. But, yeah. And I'll just say, yeah, again. And if you want to...
The point I was trying to make was, you know, we could go off, or, I mean, as far as that subject, not the show itself, but just the subject of that kind of stuff.
Fuck yeah, man. I'm down. We could do a whole... I'll watch a bunch of them, and then we can go off on it. Or, I mean, I'm sure you have plenty, and then I could just interrupt you and talk over you and just say my own shit. Not let you actually.
That sounds good, you asshole.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm down, dude. Whatever. I'm down for a rant episode of anything, or we can go tangent free, like not tangent free, but we can just go off on like crazy wherever. Because I don't really give a shit. As long as we're talking about shit that's interesting to us, hopefully somebody else will find it interesting.
'Tis the new format of the Inspired Disorder podcast.
It is, you see, it is. It's very inspired, and it's quite disorderly, you know? It's quite inspired and disorder. It fits the title of the show. I do agree, I do agree.
I doubly do.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. So, let's just get into... You can check out past episodes of the Inspired Disorder podcast at inspireddisorder.com/podcast, or you can go, if you are at all familiar with iTunes, you can go to iTunes, you can subscribe to the Inspired Disorder podcast, you can rate and comment on the podcast, which would be awesome because we haven't got a lot of those, and definitely tell your friends. Go to iTunes and you can type in Ray Taylor, Justin King, or the Inspired Disorder podcast, and it'll pop up. Subscribe. That would be awesome. You can follow me and everything I do on Twitter, twitter.com/Ray Taylor, or you can go to my website, inspireddisorder.com, and you can check out all the, all my projects, artwork and things like that. And also, I just realized I need to offer our episode for download for people that don't. I actually kind of want to move the feed because I have a different hosting site right now. I host the podcast through Mevio, and I really want to be able to host it through inspireddisorder.com. That way I can stat-wise and just, it'd be a lot easier. But having to transfer over the feed for people that have already subscribed seems kind of difficult. But anyway, subscribe now. And if I ever do get to the point where I switch over the feed, it should automatically do it, but I'm sure we'll announce it many times. But you can go there and you can purchase. We have some merch there, and you donate to the show and things like that. Check out the show, whatever. And then Justin King, why don't you let them know where you find your stuff and online?
You can find my shit at Justin King 1. That's capital J, capital K, and the number 1. You can also look at my portfolio of all the cool stuff I've done over the years at jkdesigns.co. JK Designs, just like it's spelled, .co. Thank you very much.
Well, that's quite nice. And as always, we are sponsored by onnit.com. That's ONNIT.com. They're the makers of Alpha Brain, New Mood, Shroom Tech Sport, and Shroom Tech Immune, supplements to help people in every aspect of their life. If you're interested in supplements or just getting healthy or improving your state of being, go to onnit.com and check out their supplements. And if you're interested and want to try out any of their supplements, you can enter in the coupon code INSPIRED to save 10% off your order, and that will help us, and these supplements will help you, so we will all live in peace and harmony, so shit won't go down, and I won't have to use a portable handsaw or tablets to purify water when the apocalypse happens. So make sure you go to onnit.com to help prevent the apocalypse. Thank you very much. And thank you for listening to another episode of the Inspired Disorder podcast. I'm Ray Taylor and Justin King. And follow us on Twitter. Peace out, bitches. We love you.
Peace out. We love y'all.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Inspired Disorder podcast. Embedded signals within this podcast have reprogrammed your natural thinking patterns. Side effects may include lack of inhibitions, erectile dysfunction, anal leakage, transcendental communication with beings from 4 of the 7 primary dimensions. In the event of a tear in space-time, please keep your hands down and feet together. Any loss of life or limbs due to interdimensional travel is not the responsibility of this podcast.